All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, the man who taught me this truth. I would like to say shalom to you, Akim, and you, Akwath, your men, women, and little ones that believe on the words of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. It's your brother, Micah Allah, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemal Washai, Lord willing to edify. And the title of this lesson is simply Marvel not, you can never satisfy her. Again, marvel not, you can never satisfy her. And the inspiration of this video comes from, recent event that just took place with this dude, LeVar Ball. As you know, he has his, three sons like, LaMelo Ball that's, playing for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think he got I think the other son named Gio, Jello Ball, something like that. You know what I mean? And the other, what's the other son name? I forgot the other son name. But anyways, they had that TV show a couple years ago, Big Baller Brand. And this is his rib right here. His wife, they just split. They just got a divorce. And as you can see right here, this is from New York Post Sports. It says LeVar Ball reveals split with wife Tina, is this woman right here, after 30 years, quote unquote, found somebody else. And what was crazy about it was, number one, they spent 30 years together, but it just shows you how you can never satisfy a woman, and how Jake is going to always, you got to understand, Jake, women don't know how to love. You know what I'm saying? They don't know how to love. A man is going to always love his rib more than his rib love them. Because women don't know how to love. And you can never satisfy them. Now, keep in mind, this is a millionaire family. You know what I'm saying? She don't have a care in the world. Ain't got to want for nothing. Ain't got to ask for nothing. Ain't got to struggle for nothing. And it was, the funny thing was she had a stroke a couple years ago. The mom, this, bride right here, she had a stroke. And as you can see, LeVar, took care of her, you know what I'm saying? Did what he could do for her, but it still wasn't enough. He cared for her, and it's still not enough. Here it is, the bitch could barely talk. You know what I mean? And I know because I used to, when I was younger, I used to watch the show that they used to have. And the bitch could barely even fucking talk. You know what I'm saying? And here it is, you went through all that, the Lord judged your ass, and the conclusion you come up with is you found somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Just to show you could never satisfy them. It doesn't matter your status. It doesn't matter whatever. You can never satisfy a woman, That's why those of us in this truth, the only woman that we're to be concerned about is Sophia, And the Lord, is going to bring everything else in due season. The Lord is going to give us our women back. And it's going to start with the elect lady, who the Lord's going to save, the women on this side, who the Lord's going to have mercy on and save and pair with the men of the Lord. The Lord's going to send those type of women in due season. But these women, these average ass, simple women, these light women out here, that we just deal with just to really fly by time, Lord, to throw a bone here and there. But that's why you don't take these women seriously, You don't take them seriously. Now, if you have a good situation going on, then, hey, chew the meat and spit out the bones, man. Know what applies to you. But if you got a good situation, hey, this ain't for you, you know what I'm saying? But, just be mindful that, a woman can flip in a second, like Apostle Gabal used to say years ago, women are very fickle, Here it is, she loved you 2 minutes, she loved you 2 minutes ago, and then when some shit don't go her way, she don't love you no more. And she'll look for any excuse to step out on you. You know what I'm saying? But the scriptures, Yahweh Shema Shah comforted us by saying, hey man, marvel not if she trespass against you, because at the end of the day, everything is prophetic. That's really where the comforter comes in at, and it calms your spirit to where if your rib was to step out on you, you don't make a decision that these jakes in the world make, which is be in crash out mode over a bitch, because if she trespass against you, there's really the Lord saving you, you see? And of course, there could be some, a hard saying, for brothers to, swallow, but hey man, it is what it is, The Lord can give you another bride, because women come and go, and really, the Lord's going to kill a lot of women on the soils of America. And that's been coming out a lot lately. The apostles, and elders, been mentioning, how the Lord is going to take out a lot of women on the soils of America, because these women are just too far fucking gone, man. You can't rehabilitate some of these motherfuckers, man. Now you got some decent ones out there, and may Yahweh Shema Shah, deal and bless you decent women out there, But for you average women, Yahweh Shema Shah is going to destroy you and your household, you see? And especially the women that come across the man of the Lord and that step out on the man of the Lord, And here it is. Anytime a woman step out on the man of the Lord, at first it may seem like, goddamn, it's like this bitch in a carnal sense is prospering. You know what I mean? Bitch might get a new car the next month. You know what I'm saying? Bitch taking trips. She ain't used to take trips, but now all of a sudden the bitch taking trips and shit all the way in Cancun. You know what I mean? Feeding the water, sipping mango juice. You know what I mean? So this bitch, in a carnal sense, it may look like she living life, but guess what? She just got Satan on her ass, And the Lord ain't doing nothing but just fattening them for the slaughter, man. But this Sirach Ecclesiastes 26 and verse 11, it says, watch over in an impudent eye and marvel not if she trespass against thee, you see? And that's why women are to be watched over. Your daughters, and that's really why the Lord's really need to destroy you men too, man. That be having your daughters just loose like this, because especially this generation, I be marveling at the fact that these women get on social media at a young age, you know what I mean? And, they in high school, you know what I mean, fresh out of college, and you just see how they maneuver. They just so free, not a care in the world, don't consider anything, not cautious about nothing, just gadding abroad. And you're not supposed to allow your daughters to gad abroad. You see? Because all college does is slut your hell, the school system as a whole sluts your daughter out, That's why it was meant for, the man to watch over his daughter. And it's always that bald headed, bald face ass nigga daddy that just let his daughter just do whatever the hell she wanna do. She ain't got no restrictions. She out all types, all times of the night. You know what I mean? Getting ran through like loose change, man. And the Lord gonna smoke a lot of you niggas that allowed your daughters to operate in that manner. You see? Because I be marveling. You'll look at like social media, you look at TikTok and Instagram, see all these hoes just shaking their ass, and you got that new trend to where these young you might as well just call them young bitches. They call themselves young hoes, You got this young hoe trend where a bunch of young ass bitches out here just shaking their titties, acting like sluts, tongue out their mouth. And the main thing that come to my mind when I see shit like that is, where the fuck is your daddy? It's like, don't none of these hoes have a daddy anywhere. They daddy's not checking their phones. They're not watching over her with an impudent eye. You see? But sticking to the point. The point was, and marvel not if she trespass against thee. You see? So the women that ends up trespassing against us on this side, the Lord said, marvel not. Don't worry about it. Don't even trip. Don't let it be a shock to you. Because guess what? We're still in Babylon the Great, man. We're still under Esau's rulership, where his vibration goes forth, which is the vibration of disobedience to the ways of Yahweh Shemal Shah. And yeah, Jake don't be wanting to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, his woman, stepping out on him and shit like that. Jake don't be want to sometimes believe the shit, you know what I mean? But the signs be there, man. The signs be there. And sometimes it's just good to, just pray to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Really, all the time, it's good to pray to the Lord, constantly, when you're dealing with these women, so you don't get caught up. You know what I mean? So when it's time to let them go, it's time to let them go. Because majority of these women going to take the chip any fucking way, These women don't know how to suffer. They don't know, they don't want to know what it feels like to suffer. You see, they're so used to living luxuriously through Esau's system. And these women don't believe the Lord, man. They don't believe the Lord. Only the elect ladies of Yahweh Shemal Shai believe the Lord, man. You see, the rest of these average women, they don't believe the Lord, man. I don't give a damn how many scriptures you see in their bios, how many times you see them talk about God. These people serve Jeebus, man. They serve a false god, which was an Edomite, And Eve is going to always, while this system is standing, going to be tied to the spirit of the serpent. You see? That's just the way the Lord set it up. That's why we really don't have women right now, That's really not your woman if she ain't a virgin, And but continuing on, it says, she will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when they have found the fountain, and drink of every water near her. By her hedge will she sit down and open her quiver against every arrow. You see, these women's legs are open to all types of different men. And these women got a lot of spirits on them, They got a lot of spirits on them, bro. You see? And you can't satisfy them, Here it is from the ages of 15 and all the way up to when they get to their 30s, you got to think about how many rides done been in these women, you know? There's been a lot of men that come across these women, you see? And I don't give a damn what body count she give you, you know? Sometimes you got to, you know, depending on who you're dealing with, you got to times it by 12, you know, because these women are wicked. And you also have to be careful with who you laying with in these last days, because a lot of these women have diseases, you see? A lot of these women are accumulating diseases and they're freely giving these things out, you see? Here it is, these women will lay with Jake knowing that they have a certain disease and won't even tell Jake. That's why scriptures tell you everything is little, you know, but the wickedness of a woman, roughly paraphrasing, man. And through the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die, you know? You see, that's why it's important, you know, to really pray to Yahweh Shema Shai in these times, because, hey, the scripture said, evil and only evil, behold, is come. And that's including dealing with these women. They're a part of their evil. Now, of course, it's talking about the plagues, you know what I'm saying, and the different calamities that's said to come. But, hey, there's also a part of those plagues is what? Pestilences, diseases, you see? And that can come through the form of a woman, you see? It's Proverbs 31:3. It says, give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. You see, that's why you're not supposed to give your strength to a woman. The only strength you're supposed to give, you only supposed to give your strength to Sophia, man. You know? That's why Yahweh Shai said, remember thy first love. You know, because at the end of the day, you know, we can run through all type of women on this side, and they gonna come and go. But one that ain't gonna go, you know, it's Sophia. You see? That's why we say the Wadi Yahweh Shema Shai, you know, for this truth, because this is what keeps us with what? A sound mind. To where we not like these jakes, to where they women step out and you fuck around here and you know, you commit a certain act and now you got jail time. Now, of course, you know, in the spirit, of course, that is righteous in the sights of Yahweh Shema Shai. Don't get it twisted. That's definitely righteous. But this is not our rest. This is not Yahweh Shai's kingdom. You see? To where judgment like that with the acts of committing adultery is not, you can't do that on this side. You see? That's why you niggas that's talking about you following the laws, you know, perfectly, you a fucking lie. And really the Lord gonna kill your ass unless you repent. Because you a fucking liar. Because why you ain't putting down Eve? Because Eve is known for committing adultery. You see? Eve is well known for committing adultery. Hell, you supposed to want to put the women to death that's actors in these certain movies and TV shows that you see on a daily basis. Just something simple as that. You should be putting them to sleep. You see? Because those women, there's these actresses and shit, they got husbands behind the scene, but they on camera kissing other men, having sexual intercourses with other men, you know, which is pure fucking wickedness. But you keeping all the laws though. You see? Proverbs 31:30, it says, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord she shall be praised. You see? So, you know, beauty is vain. You got a lot of beautiful women on this earth, you know, mainly of the tribes, but that don't mean nothing to Yahweh Shema Shai. That's all vanity, you know? The only spirits that the Lord is concerned with, you know, when it comes to women, are the women that fear Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Not you that talk about you fear Jesus Christ. Because it ain't no fear with Jesus Christ. It ain't no fear with you fearing Allah and these other fucking gods that don't exist. You see? So even if you claim you fear just God and you don't know the Lord's name and you ain't serving Yahweh Shema Shai, you don't really fear the Lord. You see? You don't fear the Lord. You see? Let's read again. It says, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised, you see? And remember, the Lord is going to kill a lot of you women. It's Amos 7:17. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord, thy wife shall be an harlot in the city, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword, and thy land shall be divided by line, and thou shalt die in a polluted land. And Israel shall go into captivity forth of his land. And this is all prophecy. So the Lord said our women are going to be harlots in the city. They're going to be sluts in the city. And you see it. You see it. Even if you get with a heathen women, you should expect that. They're not under no type of standards like that. You know, they going to trespass against your ass, especially the Edomite woman, you know. But Eve is going to trespass against you, man. Don't marvel at it because it's prophecy. You see? Now, like I said, chew the meat and spit out the bones. That's not to say, you know, if you have a good situation going on that, you know, your woman, you know, could step out on you or will step out on you, because it's all up to you how about Shema Shai at the end of the day, who stays and who goes. Because man's goings is of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? You see? But it was prophesied that our women were going to be harlots. And that's just what it is. You see? It's Revelations 18 and verse 5. But even with our women, you know, being harlots in the city, this is not a forever situation. You know, this is not going to be a forever thing. You know, this is all temporary. So, yeah, our women fucked up right now, but they going to be right in the kingdom once they die on this side. You see? But that's why this is also comforting, that the fact that the Lord is going to execute judgment on you women, because you have caused a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, you know, and you've caused a lot of trouble to the Israelite man, a lot of disrespect. And the Lord is going to make sure before America is even taken out, that the Israelite man of his elect is going to get that fame and praise in every land that he was put to shame. You see? And all you women that came across the men of the Lord, you done talked your shit. You done treated the men like shit. You've been doing shit behind his back, thinking he don't know. And you're not even considering that the Lord is watching you. And not only that, but best believe the men of the Lord are throwing prayers up for the Lord to reveal your ass. So even if you ain't been caught red-handed right now and you think you're getting away with it, the men of the Lord are talking to you how about Shema Shai day in and day out, praying without ceasing, and you are in those prayers. You see? That's why the women we come across, that's not a light thing, man. You see? Because either the Lord is bringing you here to be destroyed or be delivered. It's that simple. You see? It says, Revelations 18 and 5, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities. Now, of course, it's talking about America, but guess who's included? Eve. You see? Because you joined to this system. So the Lord, just like how the Lord has remembered the iniquities of this place, You don't think the Lord is remembering the iniquities of all these Eves, you know what I'm saying, that then caused Jake to be put to death, sent to prison, that then put him on through tough times for no reason, just because you got an attitude, you know. You don't think the Lord is remembering all that shit you done did, man? All that blood that's on you women's hands, you know? It says, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, and the cup which she have filled to her double. That's the point. How much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously. That's all you people. All you women on the soils of America, you live deliciously. You see, that's why you don't take the men of the Lord seriously. You see? That's why when you hear the prophecies concerning this place, or the judgment concerning this place, you don't care. Because you living deliciously. You're being fattened for the slaughter. You see? You're going to be that sacrifice that's for Basra. You see? And you don't even know it. It says, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. And you women have taken on that mindset, thinking ain't shit gonna happen to you. As the scriptures say, just because what the thoughts of man think that the Lord's judgment is not executed speedily, that their mind is set to do wickedness, roughly paraphrasing, you know. Let me get that. Judgment is not executed speedily. Judgment is not. Alright, there we go. This Ecclesiastes 8 and verse 11. It says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. You see? So just because judgment hasn't came down on you as of yet, it doesn't mean it ain't coming. You see? It says, that's why it says so much sorrow and torment give her, you know? And that's what's coming to you people. That's what's coming to you women. Verse 8, it says, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, mourning, and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord, Yahweh Shemal Shai, who judgeth her. And the Lord is going to get a lot of you women caught up in these plagues, because we in the time of Jacob's trouble. This will happen in your lifetime. It's not like you finna die off and your daughters and sons your sons and daughters are gonna have to deal with this. No, your black ass gonna have to deal with it. Your Latin American ass gonna have to deal with it. You know, your Native American ass gonna have to deal with it. Because you women of the tribes, y'all are fucked up. And the Lord's gonna destroy a lot of you motherfuckers. You see? And it's gonna happen by the way of famine, and ultimately by those thermonuclear missiles being shot over here to the shores of America to burn you people alive. You see? So marvel not, you can never satisfy her, you know? Eve ain't gonna never be satisfied, man. You know, so don't even marvel if she trespasses against you. Because at the end of the day, the women that trespass against the men of Yahweh Shemal Shai, all you hoes gonna die. So Lord willing, that was edifying. I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, the men who taught me this truth. Peace and blessings be to the hopeful elect, you men, women, and little ones that believe on the words of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Shalom.